Thanks ever so much for having me, and thanks for coming along today. Who said that higher education was about getting a job? Well, actually, we've had Chris did a little warm-up act for me, but I've visited 25 or 30 schools every year for the last 10 years to talk to their guidance officers, their principals, and their head teachers. And that's what they think, and that's what they tell their students higher education is about. That's what parents and children talk about over the dinner table when children are thinking about whether to go to university, and if so, what they're going to do when they get there, and what's going to happen after they leave. This is a discourse that's entered Australian culture in the last 25 years, during the period of expansion of higher education. So higher education is about getting a job. And it's a very economic approach to the whole purpose of higher education. It's got a macro element. We need an educated workforce in a knowledge economy. It's got a micro element. If you go to university, you'll get a better job and have higher lifetime earnings than if you don't. All of those things are true, of course, but there are other ideas about the purposes of higher education. And it's been very interesting for me recently to find an old idea for our new times in the mouth of the Minister for Education, the Honorable Christopher Pyne, who gave a speech recently to Universities Australia and used it as an opportunity to talk about an old idea about higher education that had been articulated in the 1950s by the father of the Australian Liberal Party, Sir Robert Menzies. And here's what Christopher Pyne says about Menzies. Menzies understood that the university's role in developing an educated personality had benefits for the individual, who stood to gain not only from the technical skills he or she learned, but also from the formation of an inquiring mind. And Pyne interprets this idea as follows. So, if many more Australians could participate in higher education, not only would Australia have a highly skilled workforce, but we would have the makings of a more robust democracy and a civilized society. Well, those are the two ideas that are old and that might be new again. The ideas of a robust democracy and a civilized society. That's why you go to university on this story, because then you'll be able to contribute to the makings of a robust democracy and a civilized society. And how does that work? Well, there are skills that you need in order to participate in a democratic society. You need to know things so that when you talk to your neighbors, when you go to the local branch meeting of the political party that you're a member of, when you think about who to vote for, you understand the issues of the day. You need to be able to express those issues, and you need to be able to understand what other people are telling you when they express their views on those issues. You need to be able to make complex judgments in which we balance a variety of competing demands on the public purse, on our national resources. You need to be able to exercise good judgment. And all of those are things that you can get through higher education, so that you can leave the halls of academe equipped with the skills to be a participant in democratic society, not just a spectator. And that's the vision that Pine is articulating. Now this, from Pine's mouth and from Robert Menzies by implication, is an idea that he associates with a small c conservative political tradition. And it's there. It's perfectly appropriate to associate it in that way.